Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. So thank you all for coming tonight, braving the weather. I think the rain actually is going to miss us. I hope so. But just to be on the safe side, I parked over in the parking deck in case we have hail tonight, but I hope that won't be the case. So I'm Buddy Himes. I'm Dean of the College of Fine Arts, and I want to say that it's great to see actual people here today. It seems like for months, all the meetings that we've had here at the university have all been on Zoom. So I see a little picture of somebody on a screen, and it's just not the same. It's great to see everybody here in person. So, anyhow, thank you all for coming. A year ago this time, the university was basically closed. So it's great to have students and faculty and supporters all here in person this year. And I also want to welcome our viewers on YouTube that are tuning in, getting into the 21st century here by having this streamed as well. As far as the Dean Circle is concerned, because of the COVID restrictions, we've also had to hold our meetings on Zoom with all of the challenges of trying to get people on the call when it won't hook up properly. And we eventually did get everybody able to Zoom in. But we've also not been able to do any fundraising or have any membership events um, in, uh, in 2 years either. So I hope in 2021 that we can get back to in-person meetings and live events. But even with these restrictions, it's been a great year for the Dean Circle. The Dean Circle continues to progress. For example, in 2009, the very first Dean's Awards, we gave 3 Dean's Awards that year, one for art, one for music, one for theater. And over the years, the awards program has grown. And this year, as well as in 2020, we're giving 6 different awards, as you can see. They're all lined up here in the front. So this, of course, will be my last Dean's Award ceremony, and I need to thank and recognize the advisory board who's been with me, some of them for the past 13 years, and all of them who have helped me raise over $174,000 that has gone to students in the form of these awards, and as well over $130,000 that forms a endowed professorship. So I absolutely could not have done this on my own. Instead, this came from generous donors as well as many, many Winter Circle events over the years. So if you are a member of the advisory board with the Dean Circle, I would ask you to stand up or wave, acknowledge so people can thank you. Thank you all very much. So this brings us to the reason why we are here this evening. We are here to celebrate the best of our students. The Dean's Awards are not scholarships. There's no way a student can apply for one of these. They're not open and available to all students. They're not loans. They're not grants. The Dean's Awards exist only because the Dean's Circle has made an investment in the future to the extent that they're willing to fund these awards at $3,000 each. And the only way for a student to receive one of these is to be chosen by the faculty. When I notify the students they've received this award or going to receive it, many times they weren't even aware that there was such a thing. Anyhow, as I look back over the years at the recipients, I see students have come to us, often being the first from their family to attend college, sometimes not even knowing if they've made the right career choice. I see people, for example, like Sean Roberts. I don't think he's here tonight, and he wouldn't mind me saying this because I tell this story many, many times. Sean received the first Dean's Award in Art in 2009. Sean is now associate professor with tenure in the School of Art. Started off, wasn't even sure that he was in the right area. I also see people like Amanda Sharif, who received the Music Dean's Award in 2015. And now I see her all the time on Facebook with the Florida Grand Opera. And then I look at our recipients for 2021 and I wonder what types of talent and drive they also have. And I can't help thinking what great achievement the future holds for all of these students as well. So as you can see, the Dean's Awards are about inspiring students with pride and self-confidence to pursue the ideal. We want each of them to dream what the ideal could be for them, and then to take this award and through this award, make that dream become their reality, just like Sean has and just like Amanda has. And in so doing, inspire their classmates to also reach for their dreams. So I promise we're going to try to keep it moving here, and that takes care of my introductory remarks. So let's move on to the actual awards, and I'll do them the same way I have for the past 13 years. We take them alphabetically by discipline, which means art is first. So from the School of Art, we have the Ed and Gwen Cole Memorial Dean's Award in Art. The major donors are the late Ed and Gwen Cole. They were such gracious people who truly loved our students, and our students loved them. I'm sorry they're no longer here with us. Many of you knew Ed and Gwen Cole, or if you're new to the area, all you have to do is ride around the campus and you'll see every other building with the name Cole on there. Anyhow, the recipient is Cassandra Flores, and our major professor is Daniel Anguano. I'd like to ask Daniel to come up to introduce Cassandra, and for her to be on standby to come up immediately after Daniel is done. And then I'll ask Chris Talbot to be on standby to actually come up and present the award. Mr. Cole used to do this. Mr. Cole's no longer with it, so Chris Talbot will stand in for him. And then if you'll follow the program, after the art award, I'd like to do the music award. So I'd like to have Deb Scott and Levi Grant on standby after that. So Daniel, the floor is yours, my friend.
Thank you, Dean Himes. I'd like to thank Dean Himes for everything he's done in regard to this award. I think it's really beneficial, and we're really going to miss him when he retires. Also, of course, Florence, who's always around to help and get everything done. But we're here to talk about Cassandra. When Cassandra first started here a few semesters ago, I recall she kind of formed a group right away. She was sitting in the class with Nika and Gracie, and they kind of formed their own little cohort. And they would work seriously. I mean, they would just work. And immediately I could see in Cassandra, there was just a natural talent and ability that comes along. It's very refreshing to see. But more important than that was everything beyond that, because she was very supportive and collaborative with everyone else that she worked with. And it was pretty obvious that she was a good designer, but to go beyond to the point where she's going to bring everybody else up that's around her and that she's involved with, that in itself shows a lot of maturity. And I know, you know, her parents are here, and you got to be really proud of what she's accomplished since he's been here. So she's always quiet. She's always unassuming. But she's just at it all the time, and she's so busy. And you've read the bio. She's involved in so many things and works on campus in so many ways. So I won't talk about all of that stuff, but I will talk about this. When the art faculty was considering who we were going to pick for the Dean Circle Award, Cassandra's name came up right away. And I just kept quiet. You know, I'm a graphic design professor. She's a graphic design major. I'm keeping my mouth shut. And then everybody started saying, oh, she's great in printmaking. I mean, she's really good, and she works with all the students well. She takes critiques well. She helps everybody. She's so involved in the Art Alliance. And then even Professor Selden talked about how great she was in the metals class. And then finally, everybody had just assumed, well, she must be a painting major or drawing, or she's doing something like that, because she was good at everything that she had taken. And then finally, I got the opportunity when we had made the selection. And I said, Cassandra Flores is a graphic design major. And I was really proud of that because this is the second one in 3 years and the third one in the last 6 years. So I think it says a lot because first of all, you're talented, you're an artist, but you're also a graphic designer. I think in the end, what's going to happen with Cassandra, that humility, that strength, that temperance, and her ability to work with others and foster them is going to carry her a really long way, well beyond just what she accomplishes here at school. It's going to carry her for the rest of her life. And I know her family is very proud of her. So I'd like to introduce Cassandra Flores.
Thank you. Wow, I'm nervous. Okay. I am so very grateful to be the recipient of the Ed and Gwen Cole Memorial Dean's Award in Art. I am very grateful to Ed and Gwen Cole for their legacy that made this award possible to inspire artists like me to be successful in the School of Art. I'd also like to thank the Dean Circle for this recognition, and I am so honored and humbled to be chosen as this year's 2021 recipient. I'd like to thank Danny for a lot of supportive, for all of your support and guidance in being my professor. Many of my improvements and accomplishments as a designer as a result of you inspiring me and influencing me to overcome my challenges and pursue opportunities that help me grow in graphic design. My experience as a graphic design student at SFA would not have been the same without you as my professor. I look forward to another year of working with you to continue to prepare to be successful in my future career. And to my parents, Anna and Jesse Flores, thank you so much for encouraging me to always do my best. And thank you for always expressing your pride in me and my accomplishments. It was through both of you that I discovered my strengths and my courage. You are my biggest inspirations, and I am so grateful to have parents as caring and encouraging as you are. I'd also like to thank my family and friends for always being so supportive and so proud of me. Through all of my ups and downs, I knew that you'd always be there for me to help me through them. I appreciate you all being here today to celebrate all of my accomplishments with me. Along with my encouragement of my family and friends, my desire to create and present work that I can be proud of is one of the primary reasons that I am able to push through all of the challenges with time management and motivation. Although I am one to persevere over all of the challenges that I face, I always aspire to do my best. This award will help me to alleviate any financial strain and provide me the financial support that will lead me to my completion of my bachelor's in fine arts as a graphic designer. I sincerely hope to accomplish learning the different aspects of design that will give me an abundance of choices in the career that I find to have a deep passion and appreciation for. Thank you so much.
Next, we have the Dean Circle Award in Music. This award is totally funded by the advisory board of the Dean Circle. The recipient is Levi Grant, and his major professor is Deb Scott. I'd like to ask Deb to come up and introduce Levi, and then have Gary Wirtz, director of the School of Music, to be on standby to present the award after Levi speaks. So, Deb, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Himes, and thank you to the Dean's Circle and the Advisory Board for making this award a reality. I am the professor of trombone here, and my current class of juniors is by far the most amazing class of trombone players that I've ever had. So it does not surprise me that I'm honored to present two of my terrific students to you tonight. It is my distinct pleasure to first introduce Levi Grant. Levi is an unusually gifted student and musician. This is apparent from his stellar academic record of 4.0. Mr. Grant has a superior dedication to being a music student at SFA. He practices extremely long hours for a brass player. I know his parents and grandparents are here and they can attest to that. Generally between 4 and 6 hours a day of practice. Since his time here, he has played in all of the top ensembles, including the wind ensemble, the swinging axes, the orchestra, the trombone choir, trombone quartet, lumberjack marching band, SFA pet band, and trombone octet. He has been extremely valuable to the School of Music. I've actually known Levi and his family for quite a long time. In fact, I've known 3 Mr. Grants. They have a long line of great musicians and band directors and are certainly great SFA supporters, and they're here tonight, so I thank you for coming to support Levi. I began teaching Levi at the SFA summer band camps when he was a little boy. I've been able to watch him grow up, and that's thrilling about band camp, to get your college students, but you remember them when they're really little, and just learning to play trombone, it's thrilling. But in high school, he believed he wanted to pursue a career in math or science. And it wasn't until his senior year that he just could not get away. He could not pull away from music. And music is a disease. It just, you have to do it if it calls to you. So I was very happy to know that. I've been able to watch him grow tremendously as a person and a musician. His enthusiasm and passion for learning whatever he can is incomparable. Last year, he switched from tenor trombone to bass trombone, and he quickly became one of the most amazing bass trombonists at SFA. Levi is exceptional in every way. He is a fantastic, respectful student and an engaging academic and a wonderful player. He's a huge contributor to the success of the trombone studio and the School of Music. He works extremely hard at everything he does. As an example, last week, the band directors at SFA were telling me that Levi completed his major conducting project, and they told me it was the best one they'd ever seen. That's really saying something. We are fortunate to have you here, Levi, as a student. He will be quite successful in the field of music and make SFA very proud of him. I'm very proud of him and humbled to be able to teach students like you, like Levi. It's the best part of my job. Levi Grant, everybody.
First off, thank you for the very, very, very kind introduction. I'm very touched. Anyway, hello everyone. My name is Levi Grant. First off, I do want to take the opportunity to say thank you to the Dean's Circle and to Dr. Himes. Your commitment to SFA and to our fine arts programs is a generous investment to the future of so many students. We all would not be gathered here today if it weren't for your contributions. So again, I want to say thank you for that. I would also like to thank everyone in my family that has supported me throughout college in so many ways. I'm sure we've all heard the saying, it takes a village to raise a child. Well, they are my village, and I'm quite literally their child. All jokes aside, though, they really are the rock that I stand on. They have offered me so much help in so many ways that I could stand up here talking about it for the next hour, and I wouldn't get through the half of it. So I'll just sum it up by saying thank you. I really wouldn't have made it this far on my own, and I will be forever grateful to have you as my family. While we're on this topic of family, I also want to express my most sincere thanks to all of the faculty and all of the staff in SFA's School of Music. I know it might sound a bit cheesy, but they really are my home away from home. Ever since I started here as a freshman, I have been shown time and time again that the teachers at SFA genuinely care about their students. College has definitely not always been a walk in the park for me. And when I've needed some support, when I've needed some extra reassurance, I've found that my professors want to work with me and make sure that I'm in a position to be as successful as possible. Although just about everyone in the music building has had an impact on my life, there's one teacher that has been instrumental to my development as a student, no pun intended. From day one, Dr. Scott has been my biggest influence and has helped me to navigate college and all of its roadblocks. She has taken so much time out of her busy schedule to help me throughout college that, when I'm being honest, this award is probably as much hers as it is mine. Dr. Scott is nothing short of a role model for being an excellent musician, teacher, and person. She has given me so much musical knowledge and inspiration that if I can impart even a portion of that onto my future students, I will consider that a smashing success. Even after I leave SFA and hopefully move towards graduate school and beyond, I have no doubt that Dr. Scott will hold a place as one of the biggest influences on my life, and I will always be thankful for that. I know we still have a number of people to go, so I'll just wrap up by saying thank you to all the people in my life that have made college possible. And thank you again to the Dean's Circle and to Dr. Himes. I'm very, very humbled by this generous award, and I will do my best to use it as a motivator through the rest of college and through my academic career. Thank you again.
Next is the Robert G. Sidnell Memorial Dean's Award in Music Education. Dr. Sidnell was Dean of the College of Fine Arts in the mid-1980s. The major donors are Chris Sidnell and members of the Sidnell family. The recipient is Reid Sellers, and his major professor is Rick Berry. So I'd like to ask Rick to come up and introduce Reid. And I'd like to have Chris on standby to come up to present the award after Reid speaks. The floor is yours.
Reid Sellers came to SFA in the fall of 2018 to study music, specifically to prepare for a career as a music educator. Now, he was one of our earliest students from Cypress Ranch High School, and his high school choir director was one of our own outstanding alums, Cynthia Douglas. I taught Cynthia. She was my student, my voice student, and she was one of the 3 or 4 best students that I've taught in my career. And that it makes me extremely proud that Reid studies voice with me as well, because I can tell you that he is following in his former teacher's footsteps. From the beginning of his academic career, he distinguished himself as an exemplary student. He's completed nearly 100 semester credit hours on the university level and maintains a perfect 4.0 grade point average. He continues to be a leader among his peers, both in formal and in informal roles. He's a member of the a cappella choir and has been for several years. He's a member of the chamber choir. He's just completed successful performance of the role of Eisenstein in SFA Opera Workshop production of the second act of Die Fledermaus. He's quite active in leadership roles in the SFA chapter of Phi Mu Alpha Sinfonia. He's well liked and well respected by his fellow students and by the faculty in the School of Music. He will be a superstar music educator. Now, I've been around here at SFA for a long time, and in my situation, you get to see a lot of students come into our program, and it's been my privilege to watch many fine students come here and grow into real artists and make us proud. And I know that Reid is one of those. Now, I've also gotten to know a lot of people other than students. I realized the other day it's been my privilege to know personally every dean of fine arts here at SFA. since the first one. And that was right after Stephen F. Austin died, I think. But I've known every dean of fine arts, including Dr. Sidnell. And I can tell you that I really believe that Dr. Sidnell would be very pleased for a student like Reid Sellers to be the recipient of the award that is named in his honor. And I can think of no student more deserving. So I am pleased to present the 2021 recipient of the Dr. Robert J. Sidnell Memorial Dean's Award in Music Education to Reid Sellers.
Thank you, Dr. Berry. I really appreciate it. First off, I just want to start by saying how honored I am to be the recipient of the Sidnell Memorial Dean's Award in Music Education. Words cannot describe how awesome it feels to be recognized for doing something that I just love to do, and I do it every day. I can't take credit for getting this award all alone, though, however. There's a lot of people that have helped me along the way, and so I'd like to recognize a few of those people. First, I want to thank my mom and my grandma. They have been my biggest supporters. They have always supported me in my music career. They've always been first in line to all my choir concerts, all my performances, and they're always in the front row. They're right there in the front row. So they've been my rock through my entire life, and I honestly would not be up here without them. Second, I want to thank all my professors. The SFA music faculty here is honestly like another family to me. I know that they care, and they're always there for me no matter what, especially Dr. Berry. Dr. Berry has been honestly a huge role model for me through my education here at SFA. So thank you, Dr. Berry. I also would like to thank God for blessing me with this opportunity to be in front of y'all here today, and for helping me get this award. Now, I want to do a few quick thank yous. My beautiful girlfriend, Gracie, my sister, Riley, my Phi Mu Alpha fraternity brothers, and anyone else that I may be forgetting, you know who you are. There's been a lot of people that have helped me along the way. Oh, and last but certainly not least, I have to give a shout out to my high school choir director, Cynthia Douglas, for telling me about SFA, especially whenever she found out that Dr. Berry was going to be teaching voice again. So that shout out to her. I do not feel I would be here if it wasn't for her, nudging me like, hey, go to SFA. So when a kid has to go through some tragic event, such as losing their father like I did at a young age, you're really not supposed to make it here. It's supposed to, mess you up, and it was really hard, honestly, going through something like that. And but I can honestly say that the reason that I'm here in front of y'all today is because of how strong my mom is. She has provided everything that I need to make sure that that tragic event in my life did not define me. That I'm here today getting my bachelor's degree at college. I'm like, wow, it's fantastic. I would not be here if it wasn't for her strength and her devotion to me and my sister to make sure that we were okay. So thank you, Mom. Last but certainly not least, I want to thank Chris Sidnell and the Sidnell family and the rest of the Dean Circle for caring enough about the futures of fine arts students and making these generous donations so that we can take this money, and me personally, what I'm going to do with this money is it's going to help me finish up college. It's going to help me through my student teaching semester. It's going to help me all the way up to graduation, and I can rest easy knowing now that I have the funds that I need in order to complete this goal that I've had for such a very long time. I will forever appreciate and cherish the experiences that I've had here at SFA. So thank you all very, very much.
Next, we go to the School of Theater. The major donors are George and Peggy Schmidbauer. They live in California and couldn't be here tonight. But the recipient is Kelsey Lessig, and her major professor is Rick Jones. So I'd like to ask Rick to come up and introduce Kelsey and to have her on standby ready to speak. And then Cleo, if you'd be on standby, Cleo's the director of the School of Theater, be on standby to come up and actually present the plaque to Kelsey. So Rick, the floor is yours.
So first off, this has been really serious, right? So Levi, great hair. So first off, obviously, thanks to Dr. Himes and the Dean's Circle, and of course the Schmidbauer family for their ongoing support, and really for the opportunity to highlight the most valuable resource we have in the College of Fine Arts, and that is the excellence of so many of our students. I was trying to remember trying to think of how to introduce Kelsey Lessig, and I think I'll start by my first memory of her was at a transfer advising session 2 years ago. I think Cleo was meeting with the architects or something. And part of that orientation is describing some of our program's processes and opportunities and expectations. When are the auditions and how do I prepare for them? What student organizations do you have? Oh, you've got international programs, that kind of stuff. And there's this one woman who was remarkably engaged in what is normally not an engaging presentation. And she asked intelligent questions, and she just brought a lot of energy to the room. And I remember thinking as I walked out of that session, if she, Kelsey something, I think her name was, if she had any scholastic aptitude or any acting talent, that attitude was going to take her a long way. Well, she's on track for summa cum laude recognition. She's played significant roles, very different from each other, in faculty-directed productions every semester she's been here. Just for me, she played a potty-mouthed teenage athlete and a psychopathic would-be murderer. So the intellect and the talent are there. Now, of course, such things are often narrowly defined. Kelsey, you know I love you, but as your advisor and as the director of the Wolves, I must tell you that I don't foresee a future for you in either astrophysics or professional soccer. But as a potential graduate student, as an actor, yeah. Ultimately, though, as we've heard from about other recipients, what she's done is less important than who she is. Intelligence and talent can be developed, but they can't be taught. They role modeled. Attitude, work ethic, leadership, taking advantage of the opportunities that are presented to you. That is the stuff of role models. Now, Kelsey's receiving this award because the faculty voted for her over some very stiff competition. But she'll be president of Speak Up, our device troupe, vice president of our chapter of the Alpha Psi Omega Theater Honor Society, member of the Student Productions Advisory Committee because her peers voted for her, elected her. Leaders are selected by those who choose to be led. Oh, and she's also a peer mentor. She's a busy lass. My clearest memories of Kelsey aren't her performances per se, although I loved working with her and she did great work. What stands out more than anything are moments like her cheerleading for her competition at callbacks for the Wolves, and being the biggest fan of her understudy in the Maids. That is a leader. That is a role model. That is an extraordinary young woman named Kelsey Lessig.
First of all, oh my God, that was so nice. Anyway, first and foremost, I would like to thank my family for supporting me and encouraging me from day one. In many ways, I would not be up here accepting this award today if it weren't for your unconditional love. I'd like to thank my friends, both outside of SFA and the many I've made here, who always make me feel understood and welcomed. I'd like to thank my incredible boyfriend for always being my biggest cheerleader and believing in me, especially when I can't seem to believe in myself. I'd like to thank my professors and the faculty of SFA's School of Theater for accepting me with open arms and supporting my crazy dreams. Maybe this acting thing isn't just a shot in the dark after all. Thank you for sharing your wisdom and experiences. They mean more to me than you will ever know. I'd like to, of course, thank the Dean's Circle for actually caring about young artists and giving them the financial means and the emotional support to be successful in our respective fields. It's people and organizations like you that make us feel validated and supported in an often judgmental world. Story time. I didn't start my college career at SFA. In fact, for a year and a half, I attended the University of Oklahoma as an advertising major. Spoiler, that wasn't for me. I had been acting and performing on stage since I was 9 years old, and for the first time, I was leaving that behind. Quite honestly, I didn't believe that I could make it as an actor. I didn't think I was talented enough, pretty enough, funny enough, or anything enough to make a career out of all of this. After one semester, I went to my academic advisor and switched my major to film and media studies, another love of mine. As one might imagine, this was a much better fit for me. I got to express myself creatively and learn about an art that I'd always been interested in. But no matter how much I enjoyed film, I still didn't feel fulfilled. I wasn't fully happy. My self-esteem was at an all-time low, my mental health was deteriorating, and I didn't ask for help. I was drowning in silence for a long time. But somehow, amidst all the darkness, I pushed myself to audition for a community theater production of The Mousetrap that was 2 hours away from my campus. By some stroke of luck, I was cast as the female lead, and everything clicked for me when I realized that the favorite parts of my days were driving 2 hours to Enid, rehearsing from 7 to 10, then driving 2 hours back every day. I realized that if I was crazy enough to drive 4 hours daily to a community theater in the middle of nowhere, Oklahoma for an Agatha Christie play, maybe I was crazy enough to pursue acting after all. Once the show closed and my final exams were over, I packed all my things and moved back home, where my family greeted me with open arms. For over a year, I worked at Dress Barn and worked on myself. I got to the point where I was actually missing going to classes, so I figured that it was time to start looking at schools. After getting accepted and denied from several universities and their respective theater programs, I was given 2 performance-based scholarships, one for North Park University in Chicago and one for Stephen F. Austin State University. It was a no-brainer. SFA had a well-rounded theater program, meaning that they encouraged their students to be skilled in all aspects of theater, rather than just their little acting bubble or their little lighting bubble. And growing up doing community theater, that's the kind of artist I was trained to be. Plus, out-of-state tuition is awful, and having a father who's a finance professor, you can probably see why SFA seemed a lot nicer. Since transferring to SFA, I've been cast in 4 wonderful main stage productions. I've become the vice president-elect of the Beta Phi chapter of Alpha Psi Omega. I've become the historian of Speak Up, our devised theater troupe. I've just recently became a member of the theater council for the School of Theater, as well as a representative of the Student Productions Advisory Committee. I've made so many amazing friends, more than I can count. I met my amazing boyfriend. I've made lasting connections with the School of Theater faculty members. I've made the dean's list and the president's list, and I've become an overall happier, more confident person and artist. And I hope I can serve as an example that you have the power to pull yourself up from your darkest moments. You deserve to take care of yourself. You deserve to believe in yourself. And you deserve happiness. Asking for help is a sign of strength, not weakness. To all my fellow Dean's Awards recipients, I may not know you personally, but I'm really proud of us. We've accomplished a lot just on our own, and no less in a pandemic. I'm excited to see where your passions take you. Sky's the limit. Thank you.
So now we'll move on to our 2 new awards. The first of these is the John N. and Margaret Staley Scholarship. This was created with funds from the estate of their daughter, Nancy Delaney, whose husband was Creighton Delaney, head of the art department in the late 1960s. The recipient this year is Kristen Mercer, and her major professor, once again, is Deb Scott. And basically the same routine. Deb, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Himes, and I appreciate this new award because it gets to feature another one of my students, and I know it's going to mean the world to her. To say Kristen Mercer has been dedicated on her instrument, the trombone, is an understatement. She absolutely practices daily and is prepared for her lessons. I give her these etudes that she hates, and she complains about them, but she gets them done, and she's wonderful. The progress she has shown is tremendous, and she loves playing. However, despite this fantastic growth and success on her instrument, it's not the main area I'd like to discuss. Miss Mercer shines in her academic ability. Her GPA is 4.0, and that attests to her dedication. But I want to try to put into words how completely enthralled and dedicated she is with learning music, particularly theory. From the time she was a freshman, she would come to me with questions about the key centers of her etudes and the modulations, and she would mention pieces that she had played in band and talk about what the sequence of the key signatures were doing, and this is highly unusual for a freshman. She wanted me to assign her more scales than major and minor. She wanted me to give her extra things to analyze and study and write papers on. So some students play the game of academics very well, but are doing the work just to get the grades. But Miss Mercer, for her, it's an intrinsic desire to learn. And I think that is what sets her apart. She does much more than what is required on her own accord. She is not a brilliant student. She is brilliant. That sparkle in her eye and the wide smile on her face that you'll see in a minute when she discusses music of all kinds is electric. She's been a real pleasure to teach. She is always generous and is a great teacher to the other students. She tutors other trombone students in theory without compensation because she loves it. She's a leader in the trombone studio. She restarted a group called the Lady Bones Quartet, and it's the first all-women trombone ensemble at SFA, and I thought that was fantastic. We just had a concert last week, and it went really well. They practiced, and she led them. Ms. Mercer is a first-generation college student. She loves SFA so much, speaking of hair, that you may recognize her as the trombone player with the constantly purple hair. Kristen, I also have a surprise for you. I contacted your high school band director, who I know you admire, and she sent you this note. I want to extend a huge congratulations and a loud way to go to you for this incredible scholarship award. I'm so proud of you, but not surprised at all. You are so dedicated, driven, and passionate about your goals, and you always have been. That is one of the best things about you and certainly what sets you apart. This is so well-deserved. Congratulations from Mrs. Dana Protervond. So I know that means a lot to you because she was a role model for you. But please help me welcome Ms. Kristen Mercer.
Yes, I'm short. Wow, Dr. Scott, you're going to make me cry before I even start speaking. Great. Hello, everyone. I would like to begin by thanking my parents for the support on this wayward journey of mine, even back when I was so sure I was going to be a storytelling, tornado-chasing band director. Yeah, I don't know how I thought that was going to work. I would also like to thank all of my professors that I've had at my time at SFA. I would list them out here, but I'd be basically going down the faculty list, and we don't have time for that. You have all been monumental in shaping me not only as an educator, but also as a person. You were the reason I decided to come to SFA. And finally, I would like to extend my thanks to the Staley family for their investment in my education, and all of the Dean Circles for their investment in the future of fine arts. We truly would not be here without you. In my first few years as a trombonist, one of the things that I clearly remember was my teachers telling me to perform as if it was your last time, every time. These words hold an entirely different meaning in today's world. I did not know that the performance I had on January 30th, 2020 would be the last performance in concert band until March of this year. I remember leaving that concert excited for what was to come, only for life as I knew it to be completely uprooted. Coming back in the fall and having such a long time between performances made me realize just how important music is to me. I hadn't felt that excited for a concert band performance as I had on March 2nd. And I think that's something that COVID has shown us. When we were all forced in our homes fearing what came next, we turned to music. Whether it be from a specific artist or composer, a video game, a TV show, a movie. Music and musicians is what got us through and is getting us through all of this. When all hope seemed lost, it's the musicians singing from their balcony in their apartments that gave us a small light at the end of the tunnel. It's the musicians like the members of the Houston Symphony that zoom into the COVID units and perform for patients, giving them a reprieve from the battle they are facing. It's them and so many more that we don't see plastered across social media. It didn't matter in the end what they were playing. They could be playing a Bach cello suite or an arrangement of a Looney Tunes soundtrack. But it gave people something to hold on to as they faced hardship like the world hasn't seen in nearly a century. This has been the toughest school year of my life. My grandmother passed away in October of last year, hitting right around what is quickly known as Bandtober. And the Snowvid incident earlier this semester made many major assignments and projects, including that major project Dr. Scott just mentioned with Levi, all stack on the same day. It's music that has allowed me to persevere and succeed where I would otherwise have collapsed under the weight of the responsibilities I have undertaken. It gave me hope that things would get better eventually and that there is indeed a light at the end of the tunnel. As a music educator, as a performer, as a peer, as a musician, as a person, that's what I want to give to other people over the next year and for the rest of my life. Something to hold on to, something worthwhile, something that will get them through the rough patches in their life, something that they will remember fondly. And I hope for you all as the people who enjoy, create, or are participants in music and the fine arts, that you will do the same for the people around you as well. Thank you.
And to conclude this year's ceremony, we have the Ruth Buzzy Honorary Dean's Award in Filmmaking. The donor is the Nacogdoches Film Festival. The recipient is Kirsten Hart, and her major professor is William R. Scott. But before Kirsten is introduced, we have a short video from Miss Buzzy, and then I'll have Brad Mull to come up and do the actual introduction.
I'm thrilled to be back with you this evening for the 2021 Dean's Circle to present the Ruth Buzzy Award. That's me. It was created to honor an outstanding student from the SFA School of Arts filming program. I've made nearly 30 feature films, and I know what it takes to make a movie. A good story, a great cast and crew, a director with vision, collaboration, the willingness to work hard, and a whole lot of luck. Well, to win the Ruth Buzzy Award, it takes all of that and more. Here at Stephen F. Austin University, you've got to be smart too. This year's recipient has it all, and she's a girl with a fantastic work ethic, tremendous talent, and a 3.22 GPA. I proudly present you this year's Ruth Buzzy Award to Kirsten Hart. Congratulations, Kirsten, and we'll see you at the movies.
Okay, Brad.
Thank you, buddy. Kirsten said right before I got up here, she said, "Don't screw it up, Brad." I think she said mess it up, right? I'm sorry. Kirsten Hart came into my beginning filmmaking class full of ambition, talent, drive, discipline, all the qualities a teacher just hopes for a student to have. Every day of class, she was there. When an assignment was due, she turned her work in on time. If I gave a test, she aced it. And if necessary, she could write a script, shoot the script, edit the script, and screen it for me all by myself right there. And if I put her in a group of students, she was a natural collaborator, which is what we need in filmmaking. Lead or follow, she would do it. And all during this time, Kirsten also worked for SFA Sports, late into the night, filming soccer, volleyball, when I first met her, football, all of this for the school. And she still does. And when it came time to select a student for the Ruth Buzzy Award in filmmaking, it was very easy. And people ask me, what do you do with a student like that? And I say, get out of the way. So, look out, world. Here comes Kirsten Hart.
I am also short, so. At first, I just want to thank Ruth Buzzy, the Nacogdoches Film Festival, and the College of Fine Arts for this honor. I'm beyond blessed with the support that SFA has given me since I've been here.
I want to thank Professor R. Scott, Sherwood Jones, and Brad Mall for supporting me as a film student and constantly working to make me a better filmmaker. I come into the film building every day so excited to learn something new, and it's all because of these professors. I also want to say thank you to my friends, my family for believing in me and pushing me to do what I love. Miss Koch, you have been the backbone ever since I was in high school, and I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. And Mom, thank you for constantly giving up time and energy for me and just always loving me and supporting me. To my athletic media team, thank you so much for being there for me day after day. Y'all don't know how big of a blessing y'all have been to me. Y'all gave me a place where I could put all my creative energy. Alex Bell, you've been the best mentor I could ever ask for, and I wouldn't want anyone else constantly bossing me around. You truly are an inspiration to me. Lastly, some word of advice to any creative out there. There will be people who will doubt you and your work, but just keep pushing, and you will soon prove all of those people wrong. It's days like this that make it all the hard work more worth it. Thank you.
So now, as we come to the close of the ceremony, let me say that before you see the future. These young people represent all that is right with the students of the College of Fine Arts, and by virtue of their awards they have received here this evening and the recognition that they deserve from the faculty, they are role models for their peers. Over the years, I found the Dean's Awards to be the most inspiring and moving event of the year, full of optimism and hope for the future. I'm just so proud of these students here, and I think you can agree with me. Wow, the stories that they had to tell tonight, very motivational. So this brings us to the end of the ceremony. Thank you all for coming tonight. Be safe and be well.